What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Caffeinate. Today for February the 4th of 2019. My name is Samuel Adams, and welcome to today's show. For those that are brand new to the program, this is a daily gaming news podcast where I bring you the hottest gaming news from around the industry, and I pack it up in one tight, neat little podcast for you to enjoy on your way to work, on your way home from work, when you're picking up the kids from school, whatever you might be doing. You can always catch an episode of Caffeinate live on twitch.tv/thesamueladams at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, weeknights. It's always a fantastic show. Of course, I'm the creator of the show and the host, so I would say that it's fantastic. But I digress. To those joining me live in the chat right now, including Spike, welcome on in. And, of course, you can always catch the video on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia and anchor.fm/SamuelAdams, which then puts the podcast on podcast services around the world. That was the best intro I've ever done. I'm going to clip that and use it for every single show. Just kidding. What are we talking about today? We've got some news. First off, Respawn's Apex Legends is a brand new Battle Royale from the Titanfall developer, and it is available right now. To coincide with that, Titanfall 3 is not in development, which is much to the chagrin of people like myself. But we'll dive into all of this and break it down just a little bit more. In strange news, Xbox Live appears to be coming to Nintendo Switch and mobile platforms, something I never thought that I would read in my lifetime at all. 10 million players attended Fortnite's Marshmello concert over the weekend, of which I caught a small snippet, and I will say, very impressive show, without a doubt. We'll talk about what it means for the gaming industry, what it means for Fortnite players, all of that good stuff. On top of that, Monster Hunter World has popped 11 million units shipped and digitally sold since it launched just over 1 year ago. Twitch streamers have racked up 9.36 billion hours viewed in 2018 alone, and over 1 billion of those were dedicated. You guess what? Fortnite's really popular. On top of that, if you guys want some deals, the Steam Lunar New Year's sale is live now with a twist. You get some money back in your wallet, and you get some pretty good games in your backlog. And on top of everything, a French man has been sentenced to 4 months in prison for replacing a PS4 price tag with a $10 fruit sticker. And that story is pretty much self-explanatory, but hey, it's always good to throw in something a little bit lighthearted. But again, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you do enjoy tonight's show. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. Respawn's Apex Legends Battle Royale is available right now. It brings character-specific abilities to the genre, and I can confirm it's a very different style of Battle Royale. As was widely expected, EA-owned Titanfall developer Respawn has launched its free-to-play Battle Royale game Apex Legends. The fundamentals are pretty familiar. Drop into an enclosed map with teammates, gear up with the best loot you can find, and take out all of the other teams, all while the play area keeps on shrinking. What sets the latest entrant into the genre apart from formidable rivals such as Fortnite, PUBG, and Call of Duty Black Ops 4's Blackout mode is its use of character-specific special abilities. Apex Legends, which is set in the Titanfall universe, seems to take inspiration from hero shooters like Overwatch. Each of the 8 characters, or legends as they're called in the game, has their own abilities, including tracking enemies, deploying decoys, and using toxic gas. You'll play in teams of 3 and matches with up to 60 players, and as with other BR titles, you can revive your teammates from a down state. If you are unable to rescue them before they die, you'll be able to bring them back to life by grabbing a legend banner from where they died and taking it to a respawn beacon. This kind of resurrection is not typical in any kind of BR game, so the mechanics should offer a fresh gameplay element. The inventory system, meanwhile, automatically attaches gear you pick up to the appropriate weapons and tells you if an item you encounter on the map is better than the one you already have. A lot of this stuff is pretty much bringing in different aspects of other BR games and kind of combining stuff together while also mixing in elements of different genres. I'm liking where it's headed. Now they say, and I quote, "Our goal in every game you play is that you come in with a plan, but you leave with a story," Drew McCoy, lead producer of Apex Legends, said in a press release. "We're building a game that is not only going to deliver a fun and memorable experience at launch, but something we can keep growing for a long time to come." Apex Legends draws from Fortnite's monetization model in that it follows a seasonal setup with new skins, characters, and weapons available each season. When the first one starts next month, you'll be able to buy a seasonal battle pass, which grants you access to cosmetic items that you can earn through gameplay. With EA's backing and plenty of goodwill behind it following a widely acclaimed Titanfall 2 launch, Respawn perhaps has a better chance of success than many other entrants into the BR arena. And of course, Apex Legends is out right now on PC, PS4, and the Xbox One. And it is, as I mentioned, free to play. A very cool little feature as well. So, what you have here is a very interesting blending of different genres, because BR is obviously a very quickly growing phase in the gaming industry. I think it's a very quickly growing genre that is going to be around for years to come. To call it a phase is perhaps letting it off a little bit too easy. But with a couple of rounds that I've played with Apex Legends, as a solo player, I can confidently say it's not one that's going to be catering to me, unless they add some kind of variant that incorporates solo play. But with this pretty much three-man squad kind of setup going into the game, it definitely changes things up in that you can revive down teammates after they have died. It changes things up in the way that these three teammates work together based off of these special abilities that each class does bring to the table. There's a lot to love here and a lot to really break down, and of course tons of new gear, tons of new elements of how to traverse the map, such as zip lines and various kinds of special abilities and power-ups and ultimates, etc. There's a lot to go into this game, and I can confidently say that it very well has a lot of potential, and the foundation has been set for it to be a big contender, if not with Fortnite, perhaps more so with something along the lines of Blackout, where it is a realistic arcade shooter, but it's not quite so, I suppose, I don't want to use the word frilly, but it's not quite so accessible as something like Fortnite, where you jump in and it's very face value approach kind of stuff. But I digress. If you do want to check out Apex Legends, it's free, so you have no reason not to, and it's out right now on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. And I can say that I did not have any kind of issue downloading the game, which is something that is shocking after what happened on Origin with the launch of the Anthem demo a couple of weeks back. So that's a good thing to hear. Maybe I'll jump in and give it a shot on PS4 tonight, see if it does kind of flow with me a little bit better. Might even have to plug in the mic, because obviously, team play, you got to be able to communicate, and I hate doing that. I'm not even going to lie. As a quick aside, when it comes to team-based gameplay, I absolutely loathe the idea of talking to somebody that I don't know on a game. And it's not that I'm scared or anything, it's just like when I sit down to play a game, I hate talking to people. But that's just me. Now, with this being said, with this brand new BR launching on the same day that it is officially announced, and of course within 4 days of anybody actually hearing about the game, we do have the confirmation that Titanfall 3 is not in development. So essentially, before we even jump into the article itself, Apex Legends pretty much killed Titanfall 3's development, and the game actually evolved into what we got today. So when Electronic Arts acquired Titanfall developer Respawn in late 2017, the publisher claimed initial fears about the acquisition by assuring fans that the next entry in the Titanfall series was in development. Considering this was only a year after the release of Titanfall 2, it made sense to assume this meant a Titanfall 3 in the same vein as its predecessor. Today, Respawn revealed Apex Legends, a battle royale game set in the Titanfall universe, and it seems to be what EA announced in 2017, meaning that Titanfall 3 is not in development. This was confirmed by Respawn producer Drew McCoy in an interview with Eurogamer. He said, and I quote, "There are some people who think there are too many battle royale games or it's a fad. The world thinks we're making Titanfall 3 and we're not. This is what we're making." It's not clear whether Titanfall 3 ever was in development and whether Apex Legends was once part of it, as Respawn didn't directly say either of these things. But it is hard to speculate, not to speculate, it's not hard to speculate, there we go, that both are true. It is possible that Titanfall 3 simply wasn't coming together in a way Respawn was happy with, or maybe that a free-to-play battle royale simply made more economic sense among EA's portfolio of other first-person shooter campaigns. Whatever the case, if Titanfall 3 is ever going to see release, which is not guaranteed, it certainly will not be anytime soon. Last year, EA CEO Andrew Wilson stated that multiple games from Respawn would see release in 2019. We know for sure that Apex Legends is one because it has already released, with another likely being Jedi Fallen Order, which was announced at E3 last year. Seemingly, we can rule out Titanfall 3 as an option. And again, the new one's out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC today. So this is another fold in the story here, because I was looking very much so forward to playing Titanfall 3. If you didn't play Titanfall 2, it had a very solid story. It was one that didn't have a ton of depth, but it was a good campaign, especially by many people's modern standards. With the announcement that Apex Legends was coming out and Titanfall 3 is not, it definitely shows where Respawn is beginning to trend as time goes on, because obviously BR is a trend that you need to take advantage of as a developer that has experience in developing solid, very much so good first-person shooters, and so they would be stupid to not have taken this chance and to not have developed some kind of standalone BR, especially one that's free to play. That's what's the most impressive thing about the entire situation to me. But with that being said, I can't help but feel like Titanfall is not necessarily dead, and by Titanfall not being dead, I mean the core style of Titanfall that we've all been accustomed to. Because on Friday's episode of Caffeinate, whenever this story first broke, we heard a lot about Titanfall BR, and the first thing that came to mind is this wall-running, fluid motion style of gameplay mixed in with the chaotic nature of having these giant robots running around a Battle Royale map, and that's not what Apex Legends is by any stretch of the imagination. But there is still a strong desire for that style of gameplay. There is still a strong desire to have that kind of fast-paced multiplayer, giant mech kind of action, and I think that they very well could come back to the core style of Titanfall within the next 5 years or so, because with a new generation comes a kind of renewed sense of what is possible and what the gamers actually want. And so, will Titanfall ever make a resurgence? I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But if you were waiting on Titanfall 3, it looks like you're going to have to play Apex Legends instead, which is not bad, but it certainly, without a doubt, is not Titanfall. It pretty much has the aesthetic and the shooting mechanics of Titanfall. Aside from that, that's about it. That's where the similarities end. Kind of unfortunate there, if you ask me, but hey, still could be a very solid game as it does continue to evolve. Now, moving on to what I would consider to be one of the strangest stories I've covered in the entire history of this podcast, which is approaching its 1-year anniversary. Celebratory mention. Xbox Live appears to be coming to the Nintendo Switch and to mobile platforms as well. A GDC 2019 session plans include revealing the announcement. Alright, keep this on the down low and the hush-hush, but the word on the street with all the cool kids is that Microsoft are planning to launch Xbox Live on the Nintendo Switch alongside iOS and Android mobile platforms. The news comes after the industry giant submitted a session application for the upcoming GDC 2019 event, which takes place next month. The session, titled Xbox Live, Growing and Engaging Your Gaming Community Across iOS, Android, Switch, Xbox, and PC, will apparently cover the possibilities of Xbox Live on the aforementioned platforms. And again, those are iOS, Android, Switch, Xbox, and PC. Quote, Xbox Live is about to get much bigger, states the write-up, which was first spotted by Windows Central. Xbox Live is expanding from 400 million gaming devices and a reach to over 68 million active players to over 2 billion devices with the release of our new cross-platform XDK. Get a first look at the SDK to enable game developers to connect players between iOS, Android, and Switch, in addition to Xbox and any game in the Microsoft Store on Windows PCs. What an intriguing development. On the surface, this allows for the implementation of cross-platform stats and achievements, as well as cross-play, but there's likely more to it than that. We won't have to wait much longer to hear the details, as GDC takes place next month, March 18th through the 22nd at San Francisco's Moscone Center, and this is very interesting, to say the least. Now, Spike Tiger in the chat brings up a good point. He says, I can't see games running well on phones. I'm not so sure that's necessarily what's happening here, more so as what Xbox Live is beginning to become, which is a way to connect all of these devices together and essentially offer the service of games that are allowing cross-playability. So, for instance, take Fortnite, where it does play on the iOS and Android, and there is a way to play with these mobile platforms via PC, Xbox One, PS4, etc. It's this kind of future thinking, kind of crossplay that I think Xbox is beginning to pursue, and the team behind the scenes at Microsoft are trying to develop Xbox Live in such a way that it evolves as time goes on, and as crossplay and pretty much the divisions that have kept so many gamers apart over the past 20 years begin to come down, Xbox Live is going to be where they go to become a unified group of people that play and enjoy games. And that's something that is very much so a forward-thinking kind of approach. It's very much so something that is future-centric instead of focusing on the competition that's had right now between PS4, Xbox One, PC, Switch, etc. Now, as Duke of Spook says in the chat, Minecraft on the Switch already lets you unlock achievements for Xbox Live. Pretty unusual, but I dig it. And that's another big point that also the article brought up as well. Achievements are a big part of anybody's gaming experience, because for me, and I said this in a video that I released over the weekend, I love PlayStation trophies. I've grown up playing PS3 and PS2, and so whenever I got the PlayStation 3 and began to earn trophies, it really became kind of ingrained in what I wanted from a game to be able to earn trophies. It just kind of struck a chord with me. And so as time has gone on, although I'll be playing a game on PC or even on Xbox when I still had an Xbox, I would still wish that I could be earning trophies, because that's just kind of where I feel and felt and will continue to feel at home. So to see Xbox changing the game and allowing achievements to be earned across all these various platforms, to allow people to break down these barriers that have existed and play with each other unencumbered by any kind of, corporate structure, that is incredible to me and incredibly innovative on their part. Now, the big question is, will it actually work? That's really what it comes down to, because just because there's going to be a GDC panel that talks about the future of Xbox Live, that doesn't necessarily mean this isn't more of a kind of brainstorming session or any kind of announcement, because we've seen Microsoft make announcements like the HoloLens before and the kind of utility that that kind of technology could have, and it's completely fallen apart. So again, all of this is up in the air. And we'll see what happens at GDC, because without a doubt, we'll be talking about this kind of stuff a lot over the next month or so. So with that being said, speaking of Fortnite, because I know we all just love talking about Fortnite, 10 million players attended Fortnite's Marshmallow concert. I want you to be happier, the author does say. More than 10 million people played Fortnite on Saturday night to attend its brilliant in-game Marshmallow concert, with millions more watching streams online. The DJ set had been teased throughout the week via posters in-game and the gradual building of a stage in Pleasant Park. As 7 p.m. neared, Fortnite threw players into a match centering on the area and then removed all weapons. Right on schedule, Marshmallow turned up and played a 10-minute set, the performance punctuated by live audio from the DJ himself and interactive sections where players found themselves in low gravity or able to hover and soar around the neon-lit stage. And of course, there is a replay available via Reddit at Fortnite BR, but we're not going to watch that. That's 10 minutes of Marshmallow. I'm too old for that. Now, the event ended with Marshmallow waving goodbye before players were flung back into the air, weapons re-enabled to resume normal play. Despite the huge numbers of players in-game, that 10 million figure comes from Jeff Keighley, everything seemed to go off without a hitch. It's yet another example of Fortnite ripping up its Battle Royale rulebook for a live event which draws millions simply to watch the game's latest spectacle. The concert has been dubbed by some as the best attended gig in history. Whatever you want to call it, it received a rapturous response from Fortnite fans. On r/FortniteBR, I've seen numerous people say it was Fortnite's best live event yet, with praise for its choreographed visuals and in-game effects. The technical work needed to run the show on live on numerous platforms and at such a huge scale, and the freebie items given out to celebrate its arrival are amazing. And of course, there is a cinematic look if you did want to do that. But that's pretty much where the story concludes. 10 million people, according to Jeff Keighley, tuned into Fortnite's Marshmallow concert. And the point that I want to drive home here is that I've seen a lot of people say this was incredible. This took Fortnite and every other game in existence to the next level. The expectations and the desires of people have been raised significantly. But what I want to mention here is, again, the same thing that I mentioned when I hear any good stuff about Fortnite. I remember playing Call of Duty whenever I was like 10 or whatever I was, and I got so excited about a map pack, and I got so excited about earning a new weapon whenever I was, grinding through the multiplayer. That kind of stuff really got to me. To imagine having that same kind of experience in 2019 where all of my friends are sitting down playing this specific game, and to be able to watch a concert together and that be the talk of the lunch table at school the next day, that's what I love about Fortnite. It's bringing kids together and unifying this younger generation of gamers in a way that no other game is, because everybody can play Call of Duty, but you don't have giant events within Call of Duty. You don't have something that unifies the entire player base together, such as the block, I believe that's what it's called, where there is something that is rotating and bringing the community together on a weekly basis within the world of Fortnite. It's insane what Epic Games has been able to do on the technical end of what they are doing with Fortnite, but even more so, incredible what they've done to bring a community of people together that love the game. I get very heated about this. I love this kind of stuff. So, again, if you do want to watch the replays of the concert itself, then there are plenty of them online, on YouTube, on Twitch, replays, whatever you want to do. Tons of stuff like that. But I would love to see more of this kind of thing from the guys at Epic Games. However, as many people have pointed out, this isn't something that just happens and you can continue to repeat it. This was a very special event that is definitely going to be one that people remember for a long time if they did get to experience it firsthand. Now, speaking of 10 million viewers, you know what's better than 10 million? 11 million, which is exactly how many units have been shipped and digitally sold for Monster Hunter World since it released around last year about this time. The record-breaking title passes its first anniversary. Developer/publisher Capcom has released its quarterly report for the financial year ending in March of 2019. Among its glut of successful releases is epic adventure title Monster Hunter World, which shipped some 11 million copies within its first full year of release. Launching on PS4 and Xbox One in January of last year, Monster Hunter World sold 5 million copies in the first few days of release, going on to become the best-selling Capcom game of all time. A delayed PC release in August of 2018 only served to further its incredible success, and I would even go so far as to say rejuvenate its online status, because whenever that PC version came out, more people were playing it on Twitch then than I would argue were playing it at launch, and many people continue to play it today. But I digress. Having gone on to shift a further million copies since summer 2018, sales have started to slow down somewhat, as any title is going to do. Regardless, Monster Hunter World has been the driving force behind Capcom's profitability in the last 12 months, a boost that was sorely needed after the terrible audience reception to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which was entirely expected by the publisher to be their golden boy going forward. And again, the game is out right now on PS4, Xbox One, and the PC. But as Duke of Spook says in the chat, I love Capcom, glad to see them make a huge comeback in the last couple of years. Absolutely. Between what they've been able to do with Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2 Remake, on top of Monster Hunter World, they are absolutely killing it. I mean, some of the decisions that have been made have not been unanimous in the community as being successes. Of course, you have seen the pretty much cutting off of stuff like Dead Rising, but at the same time, the company is doing so well, and the games that they are pumping out are incredibly high quality for a lot of people, and I love the fact that they're able to do this type of stuff in 2019. Because Capcom, let's all be real with each other, they were having a rough couple of years there a few years back. So to see them succeed and to see things begin to get better, I can't help but be excited about that. And of course, whenever a game company does well, and whenever more money is able to go towards development, we're going to get better games, you know? And so the sequel to Monster Hunter World could potentially be massive. And on top of that, all the other projects that are inevitably in development right now, those are taking it to the next level. Some stuff that I am very excited about. So again, if you do want to check out Monster Hunter World and join the over 11 million people that have bought the game on online store places or in person, then by all means, you can check it out on the PS4, Xbox One, and the PC right now. Now, if you did just want to watch your games, Twitch streams are pretty much one of the best ways to do that. Now, there are Mixer streams, there are YouTube streams, but Twitch streams have absolutely killed it, racking up 9.36 billion hours viewed in 2018. And of course, over 1 billion of those were dedicated to Fortnite, but Battle Royale viewership is actually down. Interesting stats coming your way. So, Twitch continues to lead the way in games-based live streaming, with viewers racking up more than 9 billion hours watching broadcast on the site in the last year. The figure comes from the latest State of the Stream report by Stream Elements, which shows Twitch's 9.36 billion hours was well ahead of both YouTube Live and Mixer combined. However, YouTube Live is on the rise, holding gamers' attention for 2.31 billion hours, roughly 25% of Twitch's total. Mixer remains a distant third at 167.96 million hours, just 2% of Twitch's total hours. Both platforms are showing remarkable growth. YouTube's hours watched grew by 414.5 million, a year-on-year increase of 104%, and not far short of the 506 million hours Twitch grew by, up 25% year-on-year. Now, Mixer's hours watched rose by 39.6 million over the course of 2018, a year-on-year improvement of 179%. Looking at Twitch specifically, it will come as no surprise that Fortnite was the most viewed game of the year, with over 1 billion hours watched. This is 373 million more hours than League of Legends, the second most popular game. Fortnite reached its peak viewing hours of 399.5 million during the second quarter. Around that time, the attention on the game was at its highest, thanks to its arrival on mobile and increased coverage from the mainstream media. Now, it did decline by the end of the year, down roughly 15% to 340.1 million hours for Q4. However, this is not as low as Q1, which was around 220. In other words, the beginning of the rise of Fortnite happened around the first part of 2018. Now, Stream Elements highlights some of the titles and channels that saw particularly successful growth in 2018, and they have more details on all of this other stuff. But essentially, the top 10 in 2017. Wait, hold on. Let's read instead of going ahead and skimming. Below are the top 10 games by hours watched. So here we go. Fortnite in number 1, 2, League of Legends, 3, IRL Just Chatting. No surprise, because if you've been on Twitter, we all know what goes down in Just Chatting. Dota 2, PUBG, Counter-Strike Global Offensive come in at 4, 5, and 6. 7 is Hearthstone, 8 is Overwatch, 9 is World of Warcraft, and 10 is Grand Theft Auto. And so, that's pretty much what you can expect from Twitch in 2018, or what was expected from Twitch in 2018. No surprises here. I think the main point that I want to drive home here is that Twitch is doing incredibly well with 25% growth for a platform that is already by many people's judgments pretty saturated, both in viewership and also content creators. So to see it continuing to grow and flourish is something that I find to be pretty impressive in and of itself. Now, of course, Mixer, although without a doubt the underdog right now, 179% growth year on year is something that is very, very impressive. Now, I will say that the year before that, the numbers were significantly higher, but even more so, the fact that it still has growth well over 100% is something that does prove to me that the platform still has a lot of potential, but will it ever become what Twitch is today? That's still yet to be seen, and it is possible, but again, Amazon's giant streaming Goliath just has so much of a domination over this industry right now that it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine anything like that coming down the pipe, or at least any kind of... No. Anyways, if you did want to check out what people are watching on Twitch, then by all means you can find this article linked down below on the YouTube video where all of today's articles and every day's articles are always found. Now, as we always do, I've got a couple of deals for you guys. The Steam Lunar sale, Lunar New Year sale even, is live now with a twist. And guess what? A one-off $5 voucher for purchases over $30 awaits you right now. Congratulations! The Steam Lunar New Year sale has kicked off once again, taking a comically oversized knife to cut the prices of thousands of games. We're heading into the Year of the Pig, which officially begins on February the 5th, tomorrow. Happy New Year. But the sale will run until February the 11th. To start the Year of the Pig, Steam's giving everyone a discount worth $5 on qualifying purchases over $30. It's a one-off and limited to one car purchase per account. And of course, you can check out the details on that right here. Anything you buy during the sale will also net you tokens, which you can then redeem at the rewards booth, linked above, for more $5 discount coupons, badges, and profile backgrounds. On February 8th, the result of these Steam Awards will be announced during a live Steam TV broadcast, because everybody loves Steam TV. No, they don't. Voting took place during the Steam Winter Sale, with millions of people sending their favorite games some love. So, what did you vote for? And so, we will find out what is actually included in the Steam Lunar New Year sale if you do go and check it out right now, because guess what? You can probably find some pretty solid deals. I didn't even know this was happening. I always forget about the Lunar New Year sale because the Christmas sale and the holiday sale and all of that, it seems to happen very much so soon as compared to this one. So hey, if you missed out on some deals back then, you can come, add $30 to your cart, get $5 off. Great deals for you to add to your PC backlog if you did want to check that out. Now, a couple of points in the chat right here. I need to add in a story because sub counts on Twitch have changed over the course of the past 24 hours because we need to talk about this. Counts, Twitch, let's just Google these things. News. You know what? Let me just tell you about it. We're going to do this. Twitch wallpaper. And then I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like that. and then we're going to go here. Audio listeners have no idea what's happening, but with that being said, I don't know what's going to come up here. Hold on. Purple, that's great. View image, perfect like that. That's awful, absolutely terrible. Cool, great. So, if you don't know, Twitch subscriptions have traditionally been accumulated and build up based off of how many months in a row you consecutively have subscribed to a channel. So, for instance, if you have subscribed to somebody for 12 months in a row, you get 12 months of subscriptions based off of that, and you have a nice little badge in chat. With that being said, now there has been a cumulative sub change. So essentially, if you are subscribed to a channel and you have been sporadically over the course of the past 6 years, then all of those count towards your total, and that is absolutely fantastic. So, with that being said, if you did want to dive in, check out your subscription counts and resub to some of your favorite channels, instead of having a 1 month sub next to your name, you could potentially have many more than that. But it's been a change that's been a long time coming, and one that the community has absolutely wanted to see for a very, very long time. And on top of that, apparently we also have some changes to sub badges as well, which is not something I knew about. But hey, tons of stuff like that. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is make a video on this, and you can find it over there on YouTube later on in the day or later on in the week, whatever it might be. Tons of good news. Jump on Twitch, give it a look. But to move on to our final topic of the day. A French man has been sentenced to 4 months in prison for replacing a PS4 price tag with a $10 fruit sticker. Nice. You almost got away with it, okay? When it comes down to it, you almost got away with it. Sometimes it is better to let dreams be dreams. A 19-year-old man from Nice, France, learned that the hard way, okay, when he got the wild idea to take a PlayStation 4 off the shelf at the supermarket, walk over to the fruit section, weigh it, print out a price tag sticker, and put it on the box, and then buy the console for the price of a 6-pound bag of produce. I can't even be mad. That's genius. French publication L'Est Républicain reports that the young man named Adele was recently sentenced to 4 months in prison for pulling off the great PlayStation fruit heist of 2018 back in September. Normally, he would have had to pay $340, I suppose, French currency, I don't even know what that is, or around $389, but his produce-scented ruse brought the price down to just about $10. He used a self-checkout line, which probably helped him avoid employee scrutiny, and he went on to sell the partially purloined, never heard that word before, PlayStation 4 about $114 in order to pay for a train ticket. $114? My dude, you could do better than that. With that being said, Adele tried to do the same thing again the next day, only to get caught by police. Late last week, he did not appear in court in France and was sentenced to 4 months in prison, though the sentence is suspended, so he'll only have to serve it if he reoffends. At this point, he probably wishes he had just bought a banana. But this just goes to show you, crazy stuff still happens, and I love to throw a crazy story in here and there. So, if you're in the store, if you're in your local Target, your local Walmart, and you happen to find a PlayStation 4 laying out on the floor, which again, very much so does not happen over here in the States, then hey, you could try to go put it in the little weight thing. I believe they call those scales, if I remember correctly, and you could actually print off a sticker and put it on the box and see if it does in fact turn out in your favor. But with that being said, that wraps up today's show. If you did enjoy it, be sure to drop me a like down below if you are watching on YouTube. We are now in 1080p 60 frames per second. It took me a long time to figure out how to do that effectively so that my computer didn't blow up in flames, and I'm very proud of that. But again, if you are brand new to the show, I appreciate you tuning in. And again, it's hosted live 5 days a week on twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams. Always a good time, and it's always informative, at least in my opinion. And I like to think a little bit comedic on top of all of that. But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic rest of the night. And until then, peace.